Hey, ever feel stuck and wonder why some people achieve greatness while others remain average? Join me, Mark Jean, and Beyond Average to Great as we uncover the secrets to breaking free from mediocrity and unlock the greatness within you. Through inspiring stories and insights from people who have changed their lives, you'll learn how strong decisions and bold actions can take you to the next level. Let's go. So welcome to another episode of Beyond Average to Great. Our guest today is Mr. David Brian Sanders. He is an interior designer in the heart of Los Angeles and has become one of the most sought after interior designers, both in LA and nationwide. He is known for his genuine Southern charm and his professionalism, and his work has graced the pages of renowned publication, and he has been featured on several nationwide TV shows. David, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, Mark, for having me.
Yeah, my pleasure. My pleasure. Glad you're here, and I'm excited to learn more about your business and how, as an integrator for pro technology and home technology, how we can better serve you and better serve the design community.
Well, that's great. Yeah, I think, I can, a little bit about our history and how we got started is that I started in the business in 1998, 97.
Okay.
Started in the industry in 1997, and I was running and managing a high-end textile showroom in the Pacific Design Center.
Okay.
And a year into that, was able to garner and collect, I say collect, but it was really manifest, establish, and build a clientele of design clients while working in the showroom in the design center. So my access to designers, to local vendors, to custom vendors was right there. It was right in my hands.
So all within the Pacific Design Center.
All within the Pacific Design Center. So anytime somebody was coming in the showroom, of course, I asked them for their card. I asked to connect. I asked to network. And so for me, it was a really intuitive and integral way for me to build a clientele.
Okay. And so most of the clientele came through the showroom, and that's how you built your business.
It really did. There were many people that would come into the showroom that didn't have a designer. They would be shopping in another showroom and didn't have a designer. So it was word of mouth. I was very fortunate when I started. One of my nearest and dearest friends in LA, who is today one of the most successful, famous television producers on the planet, literally. And we kind of grew up together in LA. So when he got his first house, he called me.
Okay.
Said, I just sold my first movie to Sony. Will you come to my house?
That's awesome.
And I did. And then he just kind of referred me to the next and the next and the next. And then 6 years later, 6 years in, I looked around. I was like, wow, I've got my own, I've got a really big business here.
Did you know about starting a business or scaling or growing a business, or did you learn on the fly?
I learned on the fly. I knew nothing about scaling a business. It was only recently in the last 5 years, maybe 5 to 7 years, that I actually scaled and added team players and knew how to do that. But then I was 20 years in.
Yeah.
I just celebrated 27 years.
Wow.
So yeah.
That's amazing. 27 years. So what are some of the skills that you think that you've learned that you feel are important as a designer?
You've got to be able to listen effectively.
Okay.
You must listen to understand, whether it's a client, vendor, employee, subcontractor, collaborator, whomever it is. You've got to be able to listen to understand the situation. I think the other is being able to be flexible and able to pivot. Nothing in our industry runs on time. Nothing.
That is true.
I have learned after 27 years of being in the business of building homes, designing homes in Southern California and around the country. And now we're doing international projects. We've got 2 projects in Italy that we're doing. the ability to be able to communicate internationally is also something that's paramount in effective design. But I really believe that being able to listen to understand, being able to pivot, being able to be flexible, manage the expectation of your client and your deliverables, manage those expectations at the outset of the project, and it could go as smoothly as possible.
Now, do you have to continue to manage those expectations throughout the project to let them know like where you're at in the status, what might be changing, what needs to be updated?
Yeah, it's constant. It's a constant line of communication. I mean, again, effective communication, consistent communication, and efficient communication throughout the project is paramount to a successful project. And there's always going to be hiccups along the way. There's always going to be hiccups. I mean, it would be, I wouldn't be telling you the truth if I sat here and said, even in the most fluid and seamless projects, always hiccups. There's always hiccups.
Yeah.
And again, it's how you handle those hiccups. It's how you navigate the hiccup, which defines your character as a designer and as a person towards the efficacy of the project.
Yeah. So is that something that you just instinctively knew, or was that something that you had to learn, or were you taught? Did someone kind of coach you on that or teach you?
I kind of learned, again, I did not go to school for this.
Yeah.
I did go to the school of life for navigating people.
Okay.
And I do have a sociology and psychology background, which comes in very handy when navigating the various personalities that we get to work with, both on the client side, the vendor side, the contractor side.
Yeah, I think that's a critical skill.
Oh, it is.
Actually,
I mean, you'll drive yourself crazy if you don't manage expectation, realize that this is not life or death. Nobody is going to die if the TV didn't get hung on the day that it was supposed to, or the speaker didn't come in, or the sofa didn't come in, or the chair didn't get picked up, or it missed the delivery. Like, nobody's dying here. So it's also paramount to make sure that you communicate that in a way to whomever it is, that you're not coming off condescending and you're not being sarcastic. You're actually being serious. Like, this is not life or death, but it is important to me and it's important to you. And it's important to communicate that to everybody that you work with on the team.
Yeah. Yeah. So you work with a lot of different trades on a project, because you start from, whether it's new construction or retrofit or remodel,
right?
You have to work with everybody. So what are some of the challenges you face in working with, let's say, electricians or the cabinetry guys, or like us, home technology professionals? What are some of the challenges you face in working with them, and how do you try to overcome that?
I think some of the challenges regarding the multiple contractors that we work with are schedules and scheduling. And it's what I like to do on my projects when I have a number of different vendors working together, is that I really like to communicate and put them in touch with each other. I've had the most success when I put my cabinet guy in touch with my AV guy, or my painter in touch with my drywall. When everybody's communicating, now we're copied on everything.
Yeah.
We work that way when we work as a team collectively, and I kind of step out. I don't need to be the middleman. I need to know what's going on, and my team needs to know what's going on.
So it makes it easier for you to manage the project.
It makes it much easier.
Yeah.
Much easier. When all of the trades can talk to each other, because they know best. They know when they're going to be painting. They know when the drywall's up. They know when the sanding needs to start. They know when wiring needs to be to commence.
Yeah.
Whether it's electrical, plumbing, or whatever.
Yeah.
Get everybody on the same train, get them in communication with each other, and you'll have a successful experience.
That's great. I mean, I'm taking notes as we talk because it's helping me one
Yeah,
not only just in our industry of, home construction or home remodel, but
right.
this can translate into anything that you do. Effective communication, being able to collaborate with other people on the project, and making sure that everybody is in connection with each other. One of the things I did not know about you when I set up this call, or when we set up this call, is that you have culinary skills.
My graduate degree is in culinary arts. Yes.
Okay.
Which, again, it plays a pivotal role. Like working in a kitchen, I was on a sous chef line, I
Uh-huh.
was an expediter, I was a plater, I was a server, I was a sommelier. I played every role in the back of house of a restaurant and in the front
Wow.
of a restaurant. So, and again, managing expectation, being on your feet, being on the fly, being able to pivot and be flexible. Oh no, we're out of the steak. What are we going to do?
Yeah.
Place something else. Like the skill set that I've developed both in the culinary world, the entertainment world, played a major role in being successful. And my definition of successful is making sure that we communicate effectively, that we are able to manage expectations around whatever we're doing.
Yeah.
But the same skill set applies to what we're doing now,
Yeah.
what I'm doing now.
So how much has that background in culinary and working in kitchens affect your design of kitchens for homes?
Well, that's what I do. I work in the triangle. I work in an effect like one of my favorite rooms to do is the kitchen because
Okay.
of my experience in working in kitchens. And I'm always talking about the triangle. And the triangle is your distance between your prep location,
Uh-huh.
your refrigeration location, and your hot cooking station. That's the triangle.
Okay.
You want all of those to be near each other as close as possible when planning a kitchen.
Um,
And what they call it a chef's kitchen.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That's really cool.
Yeah.
Now, we've worked on a couple of projects together,
Yes.
and I have to say it was a great experience working
Thank
with you
you.
and your team.
For
Uh,
me too.
and the projects turned out amazing because every now and then when we go over to one of the clients' house, I won't say any names, but when we go over there to do like system updates or whatever, man, it just looks amazing. The design that you did, the thought you put into it, just it feels comfortable, but also stylish and like inviting.
Thank you.
So how did you? I think there's a term you said for your. What is the term you use for how you design home or your design style? I guess.
Well, I guess my personal design style is classic modernism,
Okay.
but in one of the projects that we did recently together, I used more color and texture and pattern play in that project than I have in any other project in 27 years. So
Wow.
not only was it an experience for the client to exercise her creative desires, but it
Hmm.
was also an exercise for me to get out of my comfort zone of using naturals and creams and neutrals throughout the entire project, which, by the way, I love, and I will
Yeah.
still do that. Um, but I love to find out what makes the client happy, what makes them tick, how do they use the rooms in their house, what are they using them for. That's like an interview that we do in the very beginning.
Yeah.
We interview the client to find out how you use the room. Not only how do you use your house, how do you use each room in the house? And
Yeah.
what kind of feeling do you want us to be able to evoke when you walk in those rooms?
So, how important is lighting for those rooms?
Lighting is important in every room. Lighting is paramount in every single room.
Okay.
Lighting is everything. The way
Yeah.
something is lit affects the paint color, the fabric color, the texture. Oh, lighting is, if not the most important aspect to a project.
Okay. Now, do you work with a lighting designer, or is that part of your skill set that you bring?
It depends on the complexity of the lighting design, but typically I can do it. Now, if it's like I said, if it's a very complex, complicated design, if it's multiple layers of lighting with chandeliers and underlighting and, base molding lighting and
Yeah, yeah,
things,
yeah.
then I would use a lighting designer.
Okay.
But a lot of times I do it myself. And it's, again, a skill set that I've worked on over the
Yeah.
last year.
So you would just pick out the fixtures that you need, how you want it to look in the room, and what you want to highlight or feature in that room with light. Um,
Correct.
so um, I kind of wrote down a few questions to ask you, and I really enjoy kind of where we're going with this too, just to learn more about what you do
Right.
and what it means to be a designer. And so now that you've moved out of the Pacific Design Center and have your own place,
Yeah.
how do you find clients? Or is it still referral based, or are you having to do more selling, I guess you could say?
I don't really do, it's funny, I don't really do a lot of selling. We've been fortunate enough to be featured, especially in the last 4 years.
Hmm.
Like 21, 22, 23, and 24. I think I've been in Architectural Digest every year since 2021.
Wow,
At least one project has been in. I think I was in 21, 22, 23, and 24.
that is great exposure.
It's a great exposure. It's a great family to be a part of. But yes, it's word of mouth, or they saw me in a
Mhm.
magazine, or they saw the work in a magazine. Um,
So
that's
you're,
how most of our referrals come in.
yeah, so you're getting attention through the magazines and TV. So what TV shows have you been on?
God. Well, I started doing television in 2008.
Okay.
I was the resident interior designer on Millionaire Matchmaker. I did a special home makeover show with John Walsh for
Okay.
America's Most Wanted right after Hurricane Katrina. I did The Lazy Environmentalist for the Nat Geo channel. I was a host and expert judge on A&E's House versus House, where I was a judge
Hmm.
in a design competition show. I did HGTV's House Hunters Renovations.
Mm.
Uh, and now that I've been able to use that as a medium to reach other people around
Uh-huh.
the globe, I am starting about 3 years ago. As a partner, I joined a production company based in Japan, Los Angeles, and Rome. So Tokyo, LA, and Rome. So we've got three continents working on developing television in the home, and the unscripted division works specifically in the home space, the food
Uh-huh.
space, and the mental and physical wellness spaces. And I've
Wow.
created 6 television shows, five of which I think are going to get a shopping agreement very soon with a production company based in LA, and working with a woman, an executive producer, has years and years of unscripted experience producing TV.
Wow. Now that's part of, I think, what helps create the success you've had is you're getting a lot of exposure. You're getting out there and getting seen, getting known through TV, through magazines, referrals. And I think that's just critical for any business to grow is you have to get out of obscurity and get out there and get known and kind of promote who you are and promote your business.
You have to be able to be willing to take the risk.
Hmm.
Have to be willing to be able to take the risk. And in doing that, which I've done my whole life, I have jumped my whole life on myself. I started my company by myself with nothing. And the only thing I called my dad, and I had this great job at the design center, secure, safe, paycheck
Uh-huh.
every 2 weeks, blah, 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 right? And I said, I think I can do more on my own. And the only thing he said to me, he goes, if anybody can do it, you can. I
Wow.
hung the phone up from that call and I turned in my resignation.
Wow. That's great to have a
26.
wow.
Yeah, whatever, 29.
Man, it's so important to have that kind of encouragement and support. I think whether it's from a parent or family member
Right.
or friends that just
Right.
encourage you. So,
Yeah. And again, you've got to be willing to take the risk because there's nothing worse than thinking about what you want to do rather than staying where you are and don't want to be.
yeah, you can think about things all day long, but if you don't take action on it, you're never going to.
They remain a thought.
Yeah, yeah.
A thought.
So, you mentioned you have a project in Rome or in Italy. How did that come about?
It's funny. So one of the producers on the unscripted side of our production company and her husband have been living in Naples, Italy for maybe 10 or 15 years. They
Hmm.
bought and are building and almost completed a new home in Naples, which I'm going to be furnishing. And then they're renovating a home in Ischia, the island of Ischia, which is right near Capri.
Uh-huh.
And I'm doing that project with them as well. Um, so yeah, that's how I got my exposure to Naples, to Italy. Yes.
So, what are the differences working there as opposed to working here?
Oh, there is no such thing as time
Okay.
when you're working in Italy.
Okay.
And that goes for emails, correspondence, shipping, production. Um, you just really have to be, you really develop your sense of patience when working in the European Union. And that
Mhm.
goes for anywhere. That could be Italy, that could be France, that could be, the only other country I think that's really efficient on time would be Germany. They
Mhm.
like to get things done. They're a very efficient community over there, and that
Yeah.
goes for all trades. But yes, working in Europe, I've developed patience, and I have and again, manage my own expectations
Yeah.
and making sure I understand their limitations.
Okay.
I think that has helped me develop into a more efficient and effective designer
Hmm.
at an international level.
Now, do you have to go out there to visit the site often?
Yeah. Well, let's see. Went over the summer. I'll go again probably beginning of the year. They're supposed to take occupancy March.
Okay.
It's been delayed now. We're delayed 4 months. It was supposed
That's,
to be September, but now it's March.
I mean, that seems like to me would be a fun project to work on.
And the client is great. They are allowing me to be creatively free and
Uh-huh.
giving me the freedom to do what I think they're going to love. They've had a little bit of input. They have a young kid, so I've got to make
Yeah.
sure I'm mindful of that.
So, what are some challenges you have? Because we all have difficult clients that we have to deal with.
Right.
And sometimes it's for us, since we're usually one of the last trades in the house doing
Right.
all the finishing touches, that frustration sometimes is compiled from all of the little things that happened leading up to them moving into the house. And so sometimes we are having to navigate those waters, and
Sure.
making sure that we, deliver a great result for them, and that, they are feeling like now they can enjoy their home instead of, not be able to enjoy it. So what are some things that you do to kind of navigate difficult clients, or what are some challenges you've had?
It's a great question. I it's a great question. Well, again, it comes down to communication
Yeah.
and effective communication. I did recently have a client in the last couple of years who wanted me to change my operating system program so that he could better understand our deliverables, our invoices, our spreadsheets. And I just, no, we're not
Yeah.
going to do that. You're going to get on board with this training and we will do our best to explain it to you. Should you have questions, we'll go over them in detail with you.
Hmm.
But I'm not going to spend time changing my operating system for this one project or this one client.
Yeah.
But we try to accommodate as much as possible without jeopardizing the integrity of what we can deliver upon,
Yeah.
without jeopardizing my team's time, without jeopardizing my time.
Yeah.
my team to deliver on time what we
Hmm.
said we would do for this project. And so
Yeah.
we have to remind people that certain during the course of a project will slow down the entire process.
Yeah.
They ask for A, B, and C.
Yeah.
So I'm very clear about my deliverables,
Hmm.
timeline in which we can do it, and that
Hmm.
if we're constantly getting interrupted by the client, which by the way, ask as many questions as you want about everything.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be able to answer all of them and get the work done.
Yeah. Yeah. I kind of like to say moving the goalpost. So, or
Right,
the goal line, where
right.
here's the scope of work that that's been agreed upon that we're supposed to deliver, and then they want to add to it and add to it and add to it and move the goalposts,
And
and we have to be able to say, that's great, we're happy to accommodate that, but let us fulfill what we've originally proposed to do that you agreed upon, then we'll add those other things. Because yeah, it can get to where the project's never ending.
right, and also like it's okay to add things to the scope of work
Yeah.
as long as there's a mutual understanding that the timeline will be extended. And if
Yes.
everyone's in agreement on the financial responsibilities of both client, vendor, and all the trades that we're working together, then
Hmm.
it's golden. Then
Yeah.
it's absolutely okay. But there must be, again, it comes down to effective communication.
Yeah. The more we talk and have this conversation, I agree. Communication, even just emails, letting clients know, because I've had to do that recently with proposals we're trying to work on and get sent out.
Right.
And I thought we'd be able to finish them by the end of this week. And it's looking like we need some more time to work on that, to get more information, or to think through the whole proposal. So I just shoot out a quick email just saying, hey, I know I said we'd get to this at the end of this week, but we need a little more time. Just being in communication, I think clients appreciate that, giving them a heads up, letting them know. And then it just gives you that breathing room and not to have to make excuses,
Right. You
because
don't. Yeah.
I don't I don't like the way I feel when you have to make excuses for things. I would rather be proactive in letting a client know up front than to let them know afterwards.
Exactly. You always want like and again I do the same thing. We all it's our production team would always email the client at the end of the week with the updates. Here's what's happening, and then we also provide a spreadsheet
Yeah.
by room and the status of each room on the spreadsheet, which is live and can be
Uh-huh.
edited by all parties. It's a
Wow.
great tool.
And what is that? Is that Google Docs?
I believe it is Google Docs. I don't want to speak out of it. It might be Canva. I don't know exactly. It could be Google Docs.
Okay.
And it's a live edit and everybody can edit it and update it in real time.
That's really cool, because I think part of communication is everyone being able to see what's going on, where they're at, knowing when this person's going to be finished in this room. So if you're following them, you know when to go in.
Right. Right.
So what's next for you? Like what's got you excited about where you're going?
Well, I've got some exciting things I can't talk about yet because I haven't signed it. Uh,
Okay.
but I've got some great things happening, as I mentioned, in television that I told
Uh-huh.
you, working on creating some TV for other people, other networks. But again, it's all about culture, humanity, design, art, architecture, physical, and mental wellness.
Mm.
That's where I'm headed. I'm headed in a direction using a different medium to tell stories, to reach as many people as possible, to move. And when I say move, I mean move mentally and move physically towards and in their purpose, in using the tools that I've collected along the way and my experience along the way to show
Hmm.
how I move and to show them and share with them that I have jumped my entire life, regardless of what I think might or might not happen. Because you see, Mark, you've got to stay out of the results.
Yeah.
People too much time over there and not enough time here.
So, how important is self-development for you or self-education
Every day.
every
Every
day?
every day. I meditate every single day. I read every single day. I like to grow every single day. I'm a very spiritually based, centric human being.
So, what's a book you're reading right now?
I just finished a fun book called Eight Perfect Murders. But then I also just finished a book that a colleague and dear friend of mine wrote, which you should tell your entire audience about,
Okay.
called the, I'm just going to say it,
Okay.
the Shut the Fuck Up Method.
Okay.
STFU Method. The name is Jorge HJOREG Perez Perez. You can get it on Amazon.
Okay.
Called literally the STFU Method.
Okay.
Change your life. It will change the way you think about your life. Everybody needs to read this book. I was in alignment with a lot of it,
Uh-huh.
but I read like 4 or 5 books over the summer. That was one of them. But yeah, there's another book called Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway.
Okay.
Susan Jeffers, Jeffers. It's an old staple, great book. But I do a lot of self-development, a lot of reading, a lot of, there's nothing that we can't do that we put our minds to.
Yeah. I think that's important too.
Yeah.
Yeah, because every day, whether it's writing in a gratitude journal, whether it's, reviewing goals that I have, whether it's creating my intentions for the week, what do I want to accomplish this week? And then I have an accountability partner or mentor, I guess I should say, that I have to report, what I complete if I, might be accountable to my intentions.
Right.
And so that helps me. It helps me grow, helps me just as a, just not only personally, but just in business, as a business, to help us grow, to help us be more outwardly focused on our clients, making sure we're delivering results to them. So, yeah, I think personal growth and personal development is paramount.
Paramount to the success of you finding your passion and your purpose, because you
Yeah.
were created in purpose, on purpose, and for a purpose.
Yeah.
All of those tools that you collect along the way and all of the activities that you participate in help you find it and help you get there.
Well, I'm excited for this TV show that you have.
Oh, yeah. Yes. I have. Yep. I'm going to say, because can't say too much.
Well, you'll have to definitely let me know when it's going to be out.
I'll come back and revisit and talk about what's being released and what's going on and all of it. Yeah.
That would be great. Well, David, I appreciate your time. I know you're very busy, and I'm just always grateful for the time that we've spent together on projects, and then just you being available to answer questions and just take the time to talk with me today.
Yeah, of course. Thank you, Mark. I appreciate it.
All right. God bless and take care. Hey, thank you for joining us today on Beyond Average to Great. If you enjoyed this episode, the best way to show your appreciation is by subscribing to our show and sharing it on your social media channels. Don't forget to tag me when you do. We'll see you on the next episode. Until then, remember, be great.